Right now at 5, authorities charge a man in connection with a 2024 murder in Jasper County.
And our temperatures begin heating up today with still a few clouds hanging around. Look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, Kansas strengthens its move over law after hundreds of roadside collisions.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday, July the 2nd. We're just a couple of days away from the 4th. Getting ready to set off all those fireworks. I haven't had a chance to look, so I don't know if we have it this morning, but in Sacramento, in the Sacramento area, fireworks factory caught fire, and the NBC station had their helicopter overhead, and it exploded live while they were covering it.
Wow.
Certainly an impressive thing. So that's just a reminder. I mean, obviously, hopefully you guys don't have a fireworks factory in your home, but you still want to be safe. Be cautious with those fireworks out there. And for today, be sure that you're safe, cautious outside, and staying hydrated as we start to heat up. Let's look outside real quick, downtown Pittsburgh. Looking good so far. Got a few clouds here and there. Otherwise, not a bad start to the day. MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line down in Joplin, also looking good this morning. Do have, some patchy fog out there. Now, again, I encountered just a little on the drive from here to here. So it's not everywhere, and it's not dense everywhere, but you still want to watch out. We've got some reduced visibilities, Nevada, Stockton, of course, Stockton Lake area, down toward Cassville, eastern portions of Benton County, of course, the Grand Lake area, and then stretching over toward Washington County, back toward Newada, Veneta. So, again, we don't have super dense fog aside from this area right now here in eastern Benton County, but you folks at home, my goodness, you should know the drill by now. Low beams, not your high beams, and, of course, slow down and give yourself time to get where you're going. As for today, though, not much going on. We've got partly cloudy skies. Again, our temperatures are going to begin to heat up. We're going to stay dry, and our winds will remain light and variable through the day. So, again, a fairly calm, fairly nice day, honestly, for July. Getting a little closer to normal for our highs today. We're sitting at 64 in Joplin, 65 in Pittsburgh. So temperatures, once again, this morning for many of us, a bit below normal out there. We've got some low mid-60s. A little further south and west, we've got some upper 60s, but still right at, or again, a little below normal. Temperatures today, right about normal for most of us. Mid-70s by 9, low 80s by noon, and upper 80s for our highs today. We'll actually start to clear out. Skies will clear later this evening and overnight before they begin to return tomorrow, and then we start to see those opportunities for pop-up storm chances. We'll break down those details for you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, a beloved member of the Neosho Police Department has died. The Neosho community mourns the loss of former Chief of Police Jason Baird. Now, Baird served the Neosho Police Department for nearly 30 years. The loss comes after Baird's recent retirement from the force. And in a statement, the Neosho Police Department says, in part, quote, Chief Baird's untimely passing is a tremendous loss to our community. While his retirement was brief, his legacy is vast, and it continues to inspire those who worked alongside him and those he served. Our hearts go out to his family, friends, and all who mourn him. The department says details regarding memorial services will be shared as they become available. A Joplin man is arrested with murder after a shooting involving his coworker at work over a year ago. Authorities arrested Alex Vega Monday night on a no-bond arrest warrant. Prosecutors charged Vega with second-degree murder and armed criminal action for a March 2024 shooting. Investigators say Vega got into an argument with Travis Wyrick at their job at Hillbilly Pumping and Hauling. Vega allegedly went inside the office, then back out to his truck. That's when investigators say he grabbed an AR-style rifle and shot Wyrick 3 times. Vega is currently in the Jasper County Jail, held without bond. And a serious rollover crash on Missouri 171 has put a person in the hospital. The crash happened about 7:40 yesterday morning. Troopers say a car left the road and struck a large MoDOT sign, then went up the embankment to the HH overpass. The car struck concrete, then overturned as it came down the embankment. The driver was rushed to an area hospital with serious injuries. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Kansas drivers should be aware of changes to the state's move-over law that took into effect yesterday. It's one of more than 100 new laws going into effect in Kansas. The move-over law previously required drivers to slow down or move over a lane for emergency tow and utility vehicles. Now the law requires drivers to move over if possible and slow down when passing any car with hazards or warning signals. The Kansas Department of Transportation reported that almost 1,000 empty vehicles were struck on the side of a road from 2018 to 2023. It's a problem the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office hopes the law change will address.
Parked vehicles, unoccupied vehicles have been getting hit roadside, or vehicles that have been occupied. We definitely want everyone to feel safe while they're out here on the roads for Cherokee County, and we want everyone to be operating their vehicles in accordance to law.
The Cherokee County Sheriff's Department says drivers now face a $75 fine if they fail to move over or slow down to a safe speed. And KOAM will be hosting its Great American Flag Swap today in Joplin. You can find us at Arvest Bank on East 32nd Street starting at 9 a.m. Bring your old tattered flag and replace it with a brand new one free of charge. All the old flags will be properly retired. As the 4th of July approaches, many fire departments continue to struggle with the shortage of volunteer firefighters, especially in rural areas. One community dealing with this, Girard, Kansas. KOAM's Lonnie Walton talks with the fire chief and a resident about the issue.
Are to get your kids and go watch some fireworks and shoot some off right there in the road.
Jeff McLean is a military vet. He says July 4th is one of those holidays he just won't pass up.
You know, I've got a good family, so we always like to get together when we can and just enjoy the company and fellowship.
Now, the McLeans are one of the many families that will be popping fireworks this year, and hopefully they'll be doing it safely, because the fire chief of the city of Girard, Jeff Turner, says they've been busy also.
Our department here, our run volume is up this year from last year due to, a lot of it's medical calls.
And not only that, Chief Turner says more work and fewer workers.
Most of the area, it's right now a shortage with volunteers across. It's not let alone local, but nationwide.
Turner says volunteers help relieve the stress from the whole team when it comes to putting out fires.
Maintenance-wise, checking gear, making sure everything's ready to go.
Turner says to avoid fire and just seek caution to begin with.
Soak them in some water, make sure they're out.
We have 2 paint buckets back there. We'll have water nearby, obviously. Got to have that around.
As fire departments battle staffing shortages, they hope they don't have to battle increased hazards this 4th of July, and they're counting on us to do our part. Reporting in Girard, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Well, if you'd like to become a volunteer firefighter for the city of Girard, you can check out our link on KOAMnewsnow.com. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. GameStop agrees to pay a multi-million-dollar lawsuit settlement over claims it shared customers' personal information without consent. Plus, weather delays shake up the Capitol Hill as lawmakers race to vote on President Trump's spending bill. And we have another hot and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, topping Nation Watch, NASA is teaming up with Netflix to stream its content this summer. The space agency announced rocket launches, spacewalks, and mission coverage will be available on the streaming platform. NASA says this will make its work in science and exploration more accessible. Schedules and programming details will be announced closer to launch. NASA Plus will still be available, though the NASA app through the NASA app on the agency's website for free. Well, if you bought a video game from GameStop in the last 5 years, listen up. You may be entitled to a cash payment or credit in the settlement of a recent lawsuit. The electronics and game store giant has agreed to pay $4.5 million in a suit alleging customers' personal information was shared without consent. Now, the suit claimed sensitive information was shared to Facebook through Metapixel. That's a tool marketers on the platform use to curate ads and content for users. If customers had a public Facebook profile at the time of purchase from GameStop's website, they could be entitled to compensation. And this morning, flight delays due to weather has House lawmakers scrambling back to the Capitol to take up the Senate's updated version of President Trump's massive spending package. The bill extends the president's 2017 tax cuts and increases border and defense spending while including deep cuts to health programs. But projections that the Senate's bill adds another $1 trillion to the deficit compared to the version the House passed in May could signal a bumpy road for the bill ahead of the president's July 4th deadline. CBS News' Jared Hill has more from New York.
Beautiful bill this week.
For House lawmakers,
I'm going to have one big, beautiful road trip.
a race back to Washington for a vote on President Donald Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill. Tuesday,
the vice president votes in the affirmative. The bill as amended is passed.
with 3 Republicans voting no, it narrowly cleared the Senate. The president's signature legislation would extend $4.5 trillion in tax cuts while adding new tax relief on tips and overtime pay. It also cuts roughly $1 trillion from healthcare programs like Medicaid and is estimated to add trillions to the deficit. Early this morning, the House Rules Committee adjourned after a marathon debate.
This bill gets Americans back to winning again.
If this ugly bill passes, it's going to get a lot uglier when people realize what's in it.
House Republicans also slamming Senate changes.
I'm against this because what the Senate did. I'll vote against it here, and I'll vote against it on the floor until we get it right.
On Fox News, House Speaker Mike Johnson acknowledged a bumpy road ahead.
Getting it done by July 4th will be purely poetic and perfect for all of us.
President Trump yesterday showed optimism.
We had a big day today. The bill passed, and I think it's going to do very well in the House.
He's expected to speak to lawmakers over the next couple of days to shore up more support. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The House is set to take up the latest Senate-passed version of the massive GOP spending package as soon as today. Now, yesterday, the president posted a message on social media to House Republicans that read, quote, "Stay united, have fun, and vote yay." Well, still to come, a new study reveals that exposure to pollution can hurt your overall heart health. Plus, Chris returns with another look at your Wednesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, one of the oldest rhinos at the Cameron Park Zoo in Texas just got a new best friend. Chris Cordova got to visit them and found out what makes their bond so special.
The newest horned friends at Cameron Park Zoo are raising eyebrows with their affectionate bond.
They want to be next to each other. They aren't showing any aggression toward each other in that way.
Ethel is 14 years old, and she's been on exhibit by herself for about a year.
She transitioned to being a solo rhino fairly well. We were really proud of her for that until we managed to get a new rhino in, and now they're going to hang out.
Until recently, when their zookeeper Mackenzie Weiland says she got a welcome surprise, a 3-year-old rhino named Mosi.
When we first brought Mosi in, Ethel immediately started kind of snorting at him, grunting at him, and greeting, and then spending as much time as she could as close to him as possible.
She says since white rhinos are social animals, a new partner is exactly what Ethel needed.
They are a social species, so we're kind of contributing to those natural behaviors of spending time together.
And now they spend their days eating grass and basking in the sun as people come to see them every day.
They had a little bit of a tussling of figuring out their kind of dominance, and after that, now they spend most of their day together just hanging out.
Very adorable. What a special bond. Let's head over to Chris now for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got some patchy fog out there, a few clouds. Otherwise, we've got another pretty nice but slightly warmer July day for us. Got a complete look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:21 now on this Wednesday morning. We're going to start once again with the fog tracker. We've got some patchy fog. This time a little more of it out there than what we saw yesterday. So you can see around Crawford County, down toward Pittsburgh, some reduced visibilities, Grand Lake area, eastern Benton County as well, then up around Stockton Lake back toward Nevada, and then in parts of western Washington County. So again, remember the thing. Low beams, not your high beams, fog lights if you've got them, and of course slow down and watch out for the potential for rapidly changing visibilities. That's the problem with patchy fog is you could be driving a while and everything's fine and all of a sudden it's not so fine. So just be prepared for that today or this morning. By this afternoon, be prepared for very similar conditions to what we had yesterday, just a hair warmer out there as we still have partly cloudy skies through the majority of the day. And as we go late afternoon, early evening, skies will actually begin to clear and we should have clear skies overnight tonight. As we go into Thursday, we have the opportunity for those pop-up storm chances again. Now, Future Track's been picking up on the possibility a little earlier than what we're traditionally used to. Most pop-up storms, they feed off the heating of the day. Well, at 5 o'clock in the morning, there's not a lot of heating going on. But even at 9 a.m., still not a lot of heating going on. But Future Track is at least suggesting that, especially in our southern counties, we could get an isolated pop-up storm or two. And if you look close, you'll see there was one near Chanute around, say, 3 o'clock. There's these out here. And remember also with pop-up storms on the Future Track, it's not going to be a guarantee that at 3 o'clock there's going to be a shower or storm near Chanute. It's just simply saying it's a possibility, and this is my best guess as to where they might be. Pop-up storms, again, with how they operate, how they form, makes it a little more difficult for the computers to go, oh yeah, they're going to be here, because like we've discussed, there's not a specific trigger for pop-up storms. Those will, of course, fizzle out once we lose the heating of the day, and then as we head into the 4th, we have those south winds. As we go late morning, early afternoon, we get another round of those pop-up showers and storms out there, but they should be done by the time for fireworks shows. Now, we do have some sticking around a little later. This is 7 o'clock Friday. Could still have a couple of these little shower storms, maybe even as late as 9, but hopefully they'll kind of remain confined to rural areas, and that way all the fireworks shows will be able to go on, because after that, we'll be fine. We'll have a pretty decent night, got pretty decent temperatures as we go into the evening and late night hours on the 4th as well. Tomorrow, mid-upper 80s already as we roll into the noontime. We're going to start to see those low 90s begin to make their return starting tomorrow, and we'll hold on the low, maybe even some mid-90s as we go through the upcoming weekend, which of course means milder overnights once again. Temperatures overnight's going to start staying a little warmer than normal. For the 4th, it's going to be hot again, back up upper 80s and low 90s, and even when it's time to set off the fireworks, still hanging out in the low to mid 80s in many locations, with maybe a few upper 70s here and there. And we go into Saturday, of course, hot once again. All right, here's a live look outside from 7th and Rangeline. Got a few clouds. We'll be partly cloudy today, around 70 by 8 o'clock this morning, and into the low 80s by 11. Highs today, upper 80s, and maybe pushing close to 90 for some of us with those light and variable winds. Winds out of the south tonight, 5 to 10, down to mid-70s by 10 o'clock, and upper 60s overnight, so at least one more night near or at average out there. Pop-up storms, though, as the heat, the humidity start to build in. Those chances start tomorrow, and as you can see, we'll have them nearly every day in the next 9 out of 10 days on this forecast, with the hot and muggy conditions sticking around. Let's check your forecast. We're going to send it over to Lisa now with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, exposure to pollution doesn't just damage your lungs, but your heart, too. A study published by the Radiological Society of North America found people exposed to air pollution over a long period of time had scarring of their heart tissue, which is an early warning sign of heart failure. Common sources of pollution include vehicle exhaust, industrial emissions, and wildfire smoke. Eating inflammatory foods while pregnant could raise the risk that a child will develop diabetes. A study published by the British Medical Journal looked at expectant mothers who ate inflammatory foods like red and processed meat, sugary drinks, and deep-fried foods, and found that a diet heavy in these foods can raise the risk of a child developing type 1 diabetes by as much as 16%. And a warning from doctors. Older women are still at risk of developing cervical cancer caused by HPVs. A study published by the British Medical Journal showed that despite younger people being at greater risk, women over 65 are still developing HPV-linked cervical cancer. Most guidelines recommend not screening for HPV in older women, but researchers say those guidelines may need to be revised. And that's a look at Health Watch. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, Pitt State gets ready for its second annual Hispanic Music Festival.
And we've got a nice looking sunrise out there, a few clouds and temperatures warming up. Excuse me. Look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, Girard's Liberty and Light celebration brings families together for music, food, and fireworks at the fairgrounds.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's just coming up on 5:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Wednesday, July the 2nd, only a couple of days away from the 4th. Hopefully everybody's ready or getting close to being ready.
About that time, yes.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I mean, granted, some folks have already been setting off fireworks for the last few days.
Especially last night in my neighborhood.
Oh, man. Yeah, see, now, there were a couple of mine that were, a couple of days ahead of when Joplin allows, and I'm like, no big deal. Because they've all stopped early, which is nice. It's polite of you.
That is
for those of us who,
I'm not saying don't light off
early.
fireworks.
But yeah, so it's about that time of year again, so just make sure you are prepared and you're ready to go. Make sure you're prepared for today as temperatures heat up. Quick look outside shows us a beautiful sunrise there from our camera downtown Pittsburgh, located at 4th and Broadway. And we head over to the MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin, looking good as well as folks get their day underway on what is probably for many of them a short work week out there. Fog tracker, it's active again because, well, there's fog out there again. We do have some reduced visibility parts of Crawford County, western Barton County. You can see Pittsburgh. Now from our camera, we didn't see any of that, but still being reported on the fog tracker. Denser fog, eastern Benton County, then around Anderson, of course, the Grand Lake area, so Grove, Stockton Lake area, back toward Nevada. So just again, remember, watch out for the rapidly changing visibilities, because that's the issue with patchy fog, is you have good visibility and then suddenly you don't. And of course, low beams, not your high beams while you're driving this morning if you get into that fog. All right, by this afternoon, of course, fog is gone and clouds hanging around, just partly cloudy skies once again. We are dry and our winds are expected to be calm or at most light and variable, so not bad out there at all, but it does allow us to start heating up a little more. Temperatures this morning a bit below average for most of us, should be in the upper 60s for our lows, but we only have one more night of near or below average temperatures overnight before we heat up again. 64, both Joplin and Pittsburgh. And here's a look at some of those cooler temperatures. I mean, these colors and these temperatures are ones you'd expect to see maybe in really May, late April as we start to gradually warm up. But we've got low mid 60s across most of the area. So again, we should be upper 60s. Nowata, Veneta, for example, probably the closest to average right now for our temperatures this morning. Partly cloudy skies again today, mid 70s by 9, low 80s by noon, upper 80s for our highs. Skies will actually clear late afternoon, early evening, and remain clear overnight ahead of those pop-up storm chances building in by Thursday. We'll go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, the Missouri Department of Conservation says it's time of the year to be aware of wild hemlock. It's potentially dangerous to humans, pets, and livestock. The plant toxins can be absorbed into the skin and affect the nervous system. It's a concern for ranchers because it can be poisonous even after it's cut.
It can also, once you cut it for hay, it can remain poisonous in a bale of hay all through its life cycle. So if it was ingested in a bale of hay, it could also still be poisonous. So most generally there's enough other grasses that they don't bother the hemlock. They will lay in it and smash it down sometimes under these trees, but most generally they don't bother it.
Experts go on to say you should never burn or compost hemlock. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free, the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Well, the Kiwanis Club of Joplin is launching a patriotic flag display subscription program. A donation of $50 will get you a flag and pole placed in your yard for 5 patriotic holidays like the 4th of July. Now, local Boy Scouts will help hang and take down the flags, and you have the option to keep them up all year. The Kiwanis Club will also replace any faded or damaged flags. All proceeds from the subscription service will stay local and help fund the organization's various programs, helping underprivileged children.
Where the funds are going to, and the fact that the flag, I mean, nothing's more important than the patriotism and the love of liberty that we have here in this country.
The Kiwanis Club has a goal of placing 1,000 flags across the area. They say the program isn't limited to Joplin. They're willing to place them in Webb City, Carterville, and other nearby towns. You can learn how to sign up on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And KOAM will be hosting its Great American Flag Swap today in Joplin. You can find us at Harvest Bank on East 32nd Street starting at 9 a.m. Bring your old tattered flag and replace it with a brand new one free of charge. All the old flags will be properly retired. Well, Pitt State invited the public out to learn more about the upcoming Hispanic Musical Festival. The university says the festival has grown with 9 total concerts in 5 different locations, including the Bicknell Family Center for the Arts and Memorial Hall. For one organizer, the event serves as a perfect way to share and learn from other cultures.
We show who the artist will be, when the concert will be, and then different collaborations that this year we are doing, one with Memorial Auditorium, one with the City of Pittsburgh, and then one with different ensembles putting together in concert with nearly 200 people.
The festival runs from September 14th through October 19th, so mark your calendars now. This marks the 2nd year of the festival. Well, Girard's Liberty Lights fireworks celebration lit up the night at the Crawford County Fairgrounds. Yesterday evening, families and friends gathered with lawn chairs to enjoy music, tasty treats from food trucks, and to browse craft vendors. Now, a slew of games beginning with turtle races and egg toss kicked off at 7 p.m. Girard Events partnered with the Chamber, the city, and a number of local groups to create the community experience.
Just in order to get my name out there and kind of find my customer base, I branched out and started going to events and like this one. So I've been doing this for a few weeks now and it's been great fun. I met lots of people. Lots of people have been introduced to my cookies and yeah, we're doing pretty well.
The evening culminated with a spectacular red, white, and blue fireworks show. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Paramount has settled the lawsuit over President Trump's 60 Minutes interview, but no apology was given. Plus, the federal government drops a multi-million-dollar settlement with Navy Federal Credit Union. We'll have the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch, breaking overnight, CBS News' parent company Paramount has agreed in principle to settle a case brought by President Donald Trump and a Texas congressman over edits to a 60 Minutes interview last year. In a statement, the company said the settlement does not include a statement of apology or regret, and that in the future, 60 Minutes will release transcripts of interviews with U.S. presidential candidates, though subject to redactions for national security concerns. Now, the money will not go to the president directly, but will be used towards legal fees and a future presidential library. The federal government is dropping its $65 million settlement with Navy Federal Credit Union. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau under the Biden administration had ordered the finance company to pay fines and refunds, claiming it charged illegal overdraft fees to service members and other customers. Now Navy Federal will no longer have to pay that money. The Trump administration did not explain why it dismissed the case in court filings. And from Bikini Bottom to your local post office, the U.S. Postal Service is dropping new forever stamps featuring the beloved characters of SpongeBob SquarePants on August 1st. And that's it for Consumer Watch this morning. Here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
All right, my youngest is here now, and he knows every SpongeBob episode by heart, so he's going to have to get some of those stamps to stick all over his wall or whatever it is he'll find. Very nice sunrise. Sometimes it's nice just to take it in and look at that. And got a couple of spare seconds here. Beautiful start to the day. Temperatures are nice. Great opportunity to go outside, sit on the front porch for a minute. You know, you can stream us on your smart device, your phone or whatever. Just take us outside. Enjoy, because it looks beautiful. It's not going to stay that way, though. Temperatures heating up over the next several days. We'll go over those details with you when we come back.
What's a favorite item that is no longer on the menu at McDonald's? We have the answer in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Michelle Rook with today's Ag Day Minute. Despite the recent heat wave, corn conditions continue to improve. USDA says 73% of the corn crop is rated good to excellent. That's up 3% from last week. Soybeans are holding with 66% of the crop considered good to excellent, the same as last week. A new study says people want the McRib to make a return to McDonald's. Online calculator site Infinity Calculator recently analyzing over 70 discontinued McDonald's items to see which ones customers most want to see return to the fast food giant. While the McRib topped the list, others include snack wraps, spicy chicken McNuggets, McDLT, and fruit and yogurt parfait. The McRib is available at select participating restaurants for a limited time. And for ice cream lovers, which state should you travel to get the most of the dairy treat? A new study from Spin Blitz recently analyzed Google Maps listings across the country to determine the number of the ice cream shops. And the top state that has the most ice cream shops is Vermont. It has just over 18 shops per 100,000 residents and is home to ice cream makers Ben & Jerry's. Second is West Virginia, followed by Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Missouri could use a few more scoops. It came in at the bottom of the list. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on this station or get updates at agweb.com.
Here's Chris with a full look at your forecast.
We've got another patchy fog kind of day out there this morning. So again, a lot of it near some of our bodies of water, of course, but patchy fog in between. For example, again, my little drive here, nothing significant, but ran into some patchy fog. Denser fog just east of Bentonville. So that's why Bentonville's got good visibility, but the eastern portion of Benton County does not. Stockton Lake area back toward Nevada, Grand Lake area, so Grove back toward Anderson. So again, low beams, not your high beams. And then keep an eye out for the potential for those rapidly changing visibilities where you suddenly have things drop off pretty quick out there, because that happens. And it happens a lot more often than you might think. All right, by noon, we shouldn't have any more fog, but we will have partly cloudy skies. Winds today expected to be calm or light and variable at best, so no major winds to worry about. But our temperatures do begin rising out there, and they will continue to do so as we head into the upcoming holiday weekend. Now, Thursday kicks off our pop-up storm chances. However, and you know, it's pop-up storms are more difficult for the computers to pick up on because, again, as we've talked about, there's not a specific trigger. There's not a frontal boundary. There's not some kind of upper-level disturbance. It's just the heating of the day and some instability that's in place. But I've not seen them show up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but that is exactly what Future Track is showing. So we'll see how that pans out tomorrow morning. But either way, through the day, Thursday, we'll have those opportunities for some pop-up storms. We're here, there. They'll be random, they'll be isolated. And they'll otherwise not last very long either, because the one thing Future Track does verify is, as we lose heating of the day, we'll lose those as well. We go into our Friday, partly cloudy again for the 4th, and another round of pop-up storms here and there. And again, not everywhere all at once, and it's not a washout for the 4th. Some of them might try and hang on a little later into the evening hours, but they should go away in time for fireworks shows. But you still want to make sure, maybe if you're not even going out somewhere, if you're just doing something at home, that you got a dry place to go and a dry place for the fireworks, just in case one of those storms shows up overhead. After that, though, goodness, pop-up storm chances will continue really for the next several days out there as temperatures continue to rise. So noon tomorrow already into the upper 80s. We'll have highs once again, upper 80s, getting closer to low 90s for a few more of us. And that will transition into our Friday as well. We'll go into our 4th and we'll be into low mid 80s by noon, and we'll have those highs climb right back up, upper 80s and some low 90s. And those temperatures like that will continue through the weekend. There's another, I'm just going to move over here real quick, another great view of that sunrise. Just a few clouds, you get that lighting out there. Bob Ross himself would probably be pleased with that particular sunrise. We're going to start about 70 by 8 o'clock this morning, be in the low 80s by 11 and into the afternoon. As I mentioned, today starts our heat up, but temperatures by this afternoon will be close to normal. It's going to be a little hotter, but it'll be close to normal as we go into the upper 80s with those partly cloudy skies. Tonight is probably our last night for a while as well, where we'll be at or maybe even a little below average for our lows. So we're back down right around the mid 70s by 10, upper 60s overnight. Once we get beyond today, as the temperatures heat up during the day, that means we'll be a little warmer overnight. We do have a couple of nights sprinkled in here and there where we might be close to normal. And we won't be as warm as we had been the first week or so of summer with temperatures closer to 80. It'll be cool, just not as cool as it should be. Low 90s, upper 80s continuing as we roll into next week. And like I mentioned, there's those pop-up storm chances nearly every day for the next several days. That's Check Your Forecast. We're going to send it over to Elise now with sports.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, on the heels of a series victory over the Abilene Flying Bison this weekend, the Joplin Outlaws now play host to the Sherman Shadowcats for the next 3 days. The league-leading Outlaws riding a 5-game winning streak into last night's matchup with third-place Sherman. Connor Johnson gets this start on the mound for Joplin, and the Oral Roberts freshman brings his A game. In the first inning, the Shadowcats scratch across a run, but Johnson still strikes out the side. And in the second, he picks up right where he left off, 6 punch-outs in the first 2 innings for Johnson, a one-time recipient of the Mid-America League Pitcher of the Week award. Bottom of the frame, Outlaws still down 1-0. Now this pitch gets to the backstop, and in his first game as an Outlaw, Carson Hilton races in from third to score their first run of the game. Now that ties it at 1. Next inning, Sherman threatening to take back the lead. This one gets into left field. Runner coming home, Tyler Broderick fires a bullet in time and on the money to get out at home. The Outlaws score 8 runs in the 8th. They win 9-1 and now have 6 consecutive victories. Meanwhile, in the Mink League, the Nevada Griffins just cannot catch a break right now. It looked like they were in great shape to end their 6-game losing streak. Last night, they led 4-2 in the bottom of the 9th, but Sedalia hits a 3-run walk-off homer to win it 5-4. On the Major League Baseball, the Cardinals and Royals both continue their respective road trips. Last night, the Redbirds faced the Pirates once again, hoping to bounce back from Monday's 7-0 loss. But once again, they are on the receiving end of a shutout. The Pirates take it 1-0. St. Louis gets all of it. Could ask for out of its starting pitcher, Andre Palatine. He puts up 7 shutout innings, allowing just 1 hit, but Pittsburgh scores the game's only run on a sac fly in the 8th. And the Royals were still in Seattle, where they jumped out to an early lead Monday night, and the same is true for last night. Kansas City scored the first 3 runs of the game, and the Royals go on to win this one. Final score 6-3. Salvador Perez has provided the biggest highlight of the night thus far with a 2 RBI double in the 5th. Finishing it up with pro basketball, the NBA has been chock full of major trades and roster changes over the past several days. Fresh off winning the NBA Finals last month, the Oklahoma City Thunder lock up their top player for the foreseeable future. According to ESPN, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder agree on a 4-year, $285 million Supermax contract extension, which runs through the 2030-31 season. Now, this will reportedly give the Finals MVP the richest annual salary for a player in league history. SGA is already under contract through the 2026-27 season, so it'll be 2 years before this extension kicks in. Under his current deal, Gilgeous-Alexander has an annual salary of just over $38 million a year. This extension is set to just about double that amount, beginning at $63 million and rising to a whopping $78 million in the final year of the deal in 2031. Now, while leading the Thunder to a championship, Gilgeous-Alexander became just the 11th player in the history of the NBA to win regular season MVP and Finals MVP in the same year. Let's look at sports. We'll be right back. Zookeepers give the animals at Berlin Zoo some help in cooling off during Europe's heat wave. The elephants enjoyed a refreshing shower as they played in their pond on Monday, while 3 bear brothers received some frozen fruits. The otters got little ice blocks with fish and mice inside. Now in southern Germany, temperatures are expected to hit 95 degrees Monday, and they will creep higher through midweek. Now, some German towns have imposed limits on how much water can be taken from rivers and lakes due to the heat. And as temperatures start to rise, it's important to remember that only you can prevent wildfires. Fighting wildfires can be extremely dangerous jobs, so take time to honor these especially trained first responders today. It's National Wildland Firefighter Day. Wildfires burn millions of acres across the U.S. each year. Over the last 3 decades, the number of homes destroyed by them has more than doubled. These blazes can be difficult to get to, and equipment has to be brought in. That's why wildland firefighters are often trained in activities like air support and smoke jumping. The day is also a good time to remind yourself and brush up on best fire prevention practices while outdoors.
Yeah, and those folks do put themselves in harm's way every day out there with those fires. And on the whole otter thing, if your ice has fish or mice in it, it might be time to clean out the freezer. It should, yeah, that doesn't sound tasty. You put it in your iced tea and then you get a mouse out of it, you've got a problem. All right, beautiful sunrise again. We're going to be partly cloudy today, about 70 by 8 a.m., low 80s by 11. Into the afternoon, highs near average, but still warmer than where we were yesterday. Upper 80s, winds will be calm or light and variable. Skies will actually begin to clear by late afternoon, early evening, and we'll have clear skies overnight as well. Temperatures back near normal again. Upper 60s, south winds 5 to 10. Southerly breeze continues into our Thursday. We'll have those pop-up storm chances beginning tomorrow and every day for the foreseeable future as we get into the hot and muggy season here in July. And that, of course, pop-up storms on the 4th, but they should be done in time for those fireworks shows. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this.